Right, hello guys and welcome back. It is Steam Winter Sale time, which is personally for me too close to the autumn sale. It was only 1 month ago, and I really think they need to schedule that autumn sale earlier because the summer sale was towards the end of June, and yet the autumn sale is at the end of November. It's really strange, especially as we don't really get a sale for the spring either, so you'd think that they'd really space it out more evenly. Anyway, as per usual, my picks for the games are based around things that I think are interesting, represent good value, and that I might have some experience with or a lot of experience with. If you've got your own choices, as always, please place them down in the comments below if you think they're good, something you would recommend to other people. And then towards the end of the video, I have my essentials. And yeah, for sure, when I do these videos, some of the same things are going to come up time and again, but I try to inject some other ones here and there, remembering that the kind of people that are picking this stuff up are usually going to be maybe people that are looking to fill up their collections or people that are coming new to PC gaming. And that's why I try to recommend some of these things which I think are kind of staple games that you can't go wrong with. And once through the video I'll provide dollar prices. These are of course estimations, so you should go on there and check out for yourself to find out what the actual price is, so it's just a rough guideline. So to begin with, let's start with Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider is always a fantastic classic series, and yeah, the modern ones have altered things a little bit in terms of their cinematicness and more quick time events, maybe a bit less skill based than some of the classics, but still very, very good. You got Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which is the newest one out, and we've actually been having a lot of fun with that on the stream. It's actually really enjoyable. Shadow of the Tomb Raider 50%, £22.50, and that's $29 there. Rise of the Tomb Raider, the game which came before that, is actually 80% off, and that's $7.99, that's $10. And then there is the Tomb Raider Collection, which has a lot of the classic games in there as well. That's a big bundle, that's 85% off, that's £29.33, but you get a lot of games in there. It's about $37. Then moving on to that, I wanted to throw in something which I haven't talked about for a while actually, which is FarCry, and specifically FarCry 3, because the newer games 4 and 5 have been kind of okay. I know some people liked FarCry 5 more than 4, I would say, but to be honest with you, looking back, FarCry 3 is really where it has been at. FarCry 3 is 60% off, that's £6.79, about $9. And if you've never played FarCry 3 before, it's still, I think, one of the very best narratives. The guy has some very irritating friends in there, but obviously there's some great characters in Far Cry 3, and I actually think the resolution of the game towards the end of the game is absolutely exceptional. I really enjoyed this game, and I think you can play it and still have a lot of fun with it. Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon as well I'll throw in there because it is a hilarious game. Absolutely worthwhile. 60% off as well, that's $4.99, about $6. So tons of fun to be had with Far Cry, and I think if you go for those ones you have a lot more fun than you would with Far Cry 4 or 5. Okay, Kingdom Come Deliverance. Now this is a medieval style game, one that I've actually been waiting to hit that 50% mark because in probably doing streaming a bit of a disservice, I actually watched a lot of Kingdom Come Deliverance on the live stream when it first came out, and it was enough to convince me that I didn't really think it was worth the price they were asking. But now I'm including this because I think 50% at £20, $19.99, I think that is a good price for Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's worth the money there. That's about $25. So I would recommend checking that out. It's basically a first-person open-world medieval RPG. Now Total War you can't really go wrong with. Total War always comes up in the Steam sales, 50 to 75% off almost any of those games, and you're looking at about £5 up to £20 for the newer titles, and you're looking at Rome, Attila, Shogun, Warhammer, Britannia, all worth a look. I won't put the dollar conversions for this one because you can kind of just estimate it and go check it out. Basically a range of great savings, and Total War games, if you've never played them, I recommend checking them out. You know, if you want to say like Luton, you know, which would be the best one to go for, honestly, you know, I've never really picked and choose between them specifically. Yeah, they might have their pros and cons, but I've always found them to be quite playable, quite enjoyable, and I would recommend that, you know, just go have a browse around, see which time period is the most appealing to you, and then that's going to give you probably the most enjoyment for it. Okay, one which I haven't included very much before, but it's a very good game. Witcher 3, 50% off, £12.49, it's about $16. Witcher is basically a very rich RPG environment, very story rich, very narrative rich. I don't want to really spoil things because part of the game is the immersion, but as you can kind of see from the trailer, it is a fantastically lush and very involving environment. Had across the board very positive reviews ever since it was out. So again, it's a great game. It's been out for a while, but one which if you have never played, you really should make time for. Go check it out. It's very good. Okay, Observer, which we had last time around, first person, 55% off, £10.34, about $13. And Observer is a very, very interesting kind of psychological game. Like I said, it kind of has like vague memories of sort of Blade Runner, Remember Me, dark, visceral, very cyberpunk, and it really kind of got a bit of a noir element to it as well, but it's extremely good, very visceral. If you like that kind of dark Blade Runner-ish environment, it's got huge overtones of that going on. Very, very good game, very extremely immersive, a very emotional game as well in terms of just kind of the atmosphere and how much it pulls you in. Dawn of War, can't go wrong with Dawn of War. The original one, always in the Steam sales, aren't they cheap, so I just make mention of it. Warhammer 40k, of course, 75%, £2.49, about $3. And of course, they've also got Dawn of War 2, Master Collection as well, 75%, £7.49, about $9. That gives you 3 basically updates for the game, 3 DLC for the game in that as well, which are very, very worthwhile. Of course, the original Dawn of War has a ton of mods, as people always go on about. I would say at this point in time, you know, the original Dawn of War you can still enjoy with, but if you're really going to go for that first Dawn of War, you want to be getting it so that you can mod it, the same as like the original Doom games. You're buying the game as a base foundation so that then you can use the mods on top. That's really why you're going for it. Space Hulk Tactics, again, the newer Space Hulk game, very, very good. Enjoy the hell out of it. I know I've got to get some more episodes up for you guys, but it's 25% off, £26.24 in the UK, $33. It is very much a translation of the board games, but they have brought in some very interesting elements. They've definitely updated it. I think it's the better iteration of the ones which are out there, so I would recommend checking this out. Even though it's kind of a bit more pricey, it is sort of fairly brand new, and I think it's still worth its money at this point in time. Also, a Warhammer 40k game, Space Marine, it's 75%, that's $4.99, about $6. And we played Space Marine through on the stream just this last week, and of course I've talked about it before. Valrak has also talked about Space Marine before. I think Space Marine is becoming one of the best Warhammer 40k games that is out there. It's just kind of getting a bit of a cult following, and I think it's more and more likely, even though Relic have said that they're not going to do a sequel, that something will happen in this vein at some point in the future. Because I think there's a sort of momentum and a weight and a strength of people remembering just how good this game is, and that it provides an experience which you just don't really get anywhere else. So I think for that alone, it was free, by the way, on Humble recently, which I did point out to many people, but you know, it's still worth checking out. Okay, I had this one in last time as well, and I included again the Doom Originals for the Brutal Doom mod. Basically, the Doom Original games, they're basically about £1 each, that's about $1.30, whatever. You can get Ultimate Doom, Final Doom, Doom 2, and then you can go and download for free the Brutal Doom mod, which I include the link for down below if you want to go and check that out. It tells you on the site how you install it and all of the stuff that you need to run in order to get that working. When I played it on the stream recently, a load of people were like, oh my god, what is this? How do I get this? I actually think the Brutal Doom mod is more enjoyable than the most recent Bethesda Doom game. I really do. Yeah, the graphics are classic in the old style, but that's part of the fun of it. But it's just something about the mechanics. It's extremely fun, very brutal, as you would expect, and you just need to kind of really get in there, check it out. It's very much worth spending a couple of pounds on. Okay, Resident Evil Biohazard Remaster, 60% off, £6.39, about $8. Why do I include Resident Evil? Well, for one, it's just a very, very good game. Like I say, it's a classic game, and I would imagine at this point in time there are many people who maybe haven't played this, because it can be sometimes those older games can kind of pass people by, and that's why it's good to get them remastered as well, kind of reintroduce them to people. But the reason I include this as well is because, of course, in 2019 we're going to get the Resident Evil 2 Biohazard Remaster, which is extremely exciting. So if you haven't had this, or maybe even just to make a mention of it, maybe have a look back, get your eye in, because Resident Evil 2 is back on the horizon next year. Okay, 20XX, this is very much a kind of like Mega Man inspired platformer indie game. I got this game, it's loads of fun, and it is quite challenging as well. I always enjoyed the kind of classic Mega Man games, and this is very much kind of inspired and sort of homage to that. It's 50% off, £5.49, about $7. Abzu, I've had loads of people ask me about Abzu over the past sort of month or two, because obviously I played Abzu on the stream a while back, and also I showcased it when I was doing my review of the MSI monitor, and some people saw it there and was like, what's this game? I've never seen this game before. Abzu is a very beautiful, very relaxing, it's not really I guess it's not really a game in some senses, because it's kind of like Journey, if you know that game. So they're kind of like, you know, narrative, silent experiences. It's just kind of very beautiful, very peaceful game. 50%, £7.49, about $9. If you want a very, very relaxing experience, then this is what you need to check it out. City Skylines I always include. City Skylines, fantastic city building game, probably in my experience the best city building game which is out there still. 75% off, £5.74, $7. It has got a ridiculous amount of mods and assets available on Steam Workshop which will literally give you hundreds of hours of gameplay. You can bundle it together as well if you want to get all the DLC, 57% off, that comes in at £49. I would say that is worthwhile. It's about $63. I would say that is worthwhile. But if you're not sure, maybe get the game, test it for a few hours, see if it feels good, and then if you want to, go all in, get those bundles, get those DLC, or they'll always be back around in the next sale anyway. Okay, next up, Cuphead, 25%, £11.24, about $14. Cuphead is a beautiful game. Of course, this has been a very, very, very widely known game at this point in time. I haven't included it before, but I feel like enough time has passed, it's worth mentioning maybe for people that have missed this game, if you were able to miss this game. Very much inspired by like 1930s cell animation, jazz, all that kind of stuff. It's a really, really fun, very quirky, very unique game, extremely worthwhile, and it's actually very challenging, like I say, so it's a good challenge if you want to kind of test your skills in some kind of platforming, side-scrolling stuff. Okay, next up, another game which has got a long-awaited sequel coming in 2019, and therefore a game which is worth checking if you never have. Dirt Rally, I mention it a lot because it's extremely good. 80% off, £4.99, about $6. Dirt Rally is a very, very authentic, well-interpreted simulation of rally sport. It's extremely visceral, very scary, very challenging. It really takes your skills to the next level in terms of just your attention, your focus. When you're playing this game, there is, you're on the edge of your seat. It is a white knuckle ride, and if you've never had this kind of experience with a driving game before, I recommend that you try this out. There isn't any other experience like it. There isn't any other driving game that I have played which is like it. And like I say, even if you're not into racing or driving games, this one is worth looking at just because of the challenge and the kind of involvement that it gives to you. I think it's worth a look. Okay, Homeworld Deserts of Karak, beautiful game, 80% off, £6, $8, and you can also get the Homeworld bundle for 85% off, £8.50, about $11. So what is Homeworld and Homeworld Deserts of Karak? Well, they're RTS games and actually developed by Relic and Sierra. People often forget that Relic's involved with Homeworld. And Homeworld, you're basically a set of exiles. You've been basically banished, or not banished, you've been pushed out from your own planet, and you seek to retake and regain your ancient homeworld. Karak is the prequel to this. They're basically very, very beautiful games, excellent RTS games. I don't think there's really an experience that's particularly comparable. And again, if you've never seen these before, I would recommend that you investigate and check these out. They're worth a look. Squad V12, again, 40% off, £18, $23. Like I say, I checked out Squad V12 recently, and this game is right there. There's no experience like this in terms of FPS right now. For sure, you've got Postscriptum out there as well, trying to do the simulation authenticity deal. But again, Squad V12 brings that up to date to the modern era. And, I'd say the only thing which comes close to this is Armor, except for the fact that Squad V12 is much more accessible than Armor. Armor requires, shit tons of setup and all this kind of thing. As we know, Squad V12, you're there, you're in on the ground, and you're playing. It's really, really good. I recommend you guys check this one out. Okay, Project Hospital. There have been a few new hospital building games out there of late. This one, 25% off, £18.74, $24. It only came out the other day. Now, you got two choices here, really. You got 2 Point Hospital, which is very much like the classic theme hospital, and you got Project Hospital, which seeks to go in a different direction, and I've spoken about before. It's a bit more kind of, I guess it's a bit more serious. It tries to kind of lean in that tone, more detail to it, more kind of mechanics to it. I think there's a lot more in Project Hospital to get your teeth into than something like 2 Point Hospital, which basically just emulates and remasters and kind of, I guess, updates the classic theme hospital. But Project Hospital is a different entity. If you've not checked it out, I recommend that you do so. I think it's a very, very worthwhile game, and I don't think I want this to slip people by because I think it's got a lot of worth. Okay, Alien Isolation, mentioned this in the last Steam sale as well, 75% off, £7.49, about $11. Alien Isolation, very, very good game, extremely good narrative in the game, very well executed game, very true, very authentic to the universe and the world of the Alien from the original movie and so on. Absolutely terrifying game, and like I said in the last one, a game which still very much stands up, even though it's quite a few years old now, surprisingly, but the graphics are still absolutely amazing. And yeah, if you've not played this game, you need to. Very few games genuinely scary. This game is terrifying. Sonic Mania, again, same price as it was in the autumn sale, 66%, £5, about $6. Sonic Mania is an extremely good game, like I said, delivering to the fans exactly what they wanted, which was a reimagining of the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 game. Sonic 2 is, in my opinion, the best Sonic game which has been made, and then Sonic Mania just builds on that. Sonic Mania is extreme, good, 2D, side-scrolling fun, really, really excellent. I recommend you check it out. Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun, always bang this one in there, 60%, £14, about $18. Really excellent, feudal Japan, basically shoguns, ninjas, all this kind of stuff going on. You have to kind of stealth through the maps. It's really fun. It's kind of like a puzzle kind of strategy game. It's got some good narratives going on there as well. It's a very, very enjoyable game, and you can burn hours in this game. I'm often quite surprised how long this game, takes. I'm kind of sitting there and I'm like, oh my god, hours have gone by. It's a really good one. I recommend checking it out. Okay, unusual one perhaps, Snake Pass, 60%. I love this game, £6.39, about $8. Snake Pass, basically this is an indie game from Sumo Digital, and when this one was coming out, I was really intrigued. I saw this at a few shows before it actually kind of went forward, and this was originally from like basically just like a small game dev event where they kind of just bashing ideas around, and they came up with this idea about the snake's movement, like some of these more old school 3D platformers which have come around like Yooka-Laylee and stuff, except that this game takes that concept of being like a kind of 3D platformer and takes it in a different way, because you have the snake's mechanic, the snake's physics, and it makes it all the more interesting. And where games like Yooka-Laylee have kind of let themselves down by kind of being too open and maybe actually just more dated than people realized, I've got some other theories about that as well, but Snake Pass doesn't do that. It's a really enjoyable game, and even though it looks kind of cutesy and fun and kind of, I guess, like a sort of kids game, it's not. It's actually really fun and some good stuff to get your teeth into. I don't know, for some reason I just was always taken aback by the kind of mechanics and the movement of the snake, and I really enjoyed it. Okay, Tokyo 42, 40%, about £9, $12. Tokyo 42 is a really cool indie game, two-person dev team, guys, and it's very much, it's like a kind of Blade Runner-ish, cyberpunk, Akira-ish future, Robotron X sort of inspired, shooting all around you. We were playing this on the stream the other day. It's really good fun and actually way more challenging than you might imagine. Stranded Deep, only 33% off, £7.36, about $9, but again, an indie game, but an indie game that we've been playing a lot on the stream for many, many months indeed. And Stranded Deep is a really good game, a game which you can get a lot out of, and I have had a lot of fun with this game. It's a very, very relaxing, sort of peaceful survival game, but again, it can be quite challenging at times as well, depending on how far you want to push it. Make sure you don't get lost from your original starting island. I recommend checking it out. It's a really intriguing game. Quake 4, 50%, £6.49, $8. I always really enjoyed Quake 4. Of course, the classics, you got Quake 2, etc. Quake, it's a well-known series, but Quake 4, I always thought, I don't know, I love the environments and I love the story of this game. I think that's all I really want to say about Quake, because Quake is Quake. But Quake 4, for the price, I think it's a great episode in the series, and if you don't have it, I recommend checking it out. Seraph, another indie game, 70%, £2.99, that's only $4. Seraph, it's a very kind of, it's weird, because Seraph, it's a platformer, 2D again. It's a beautiful game, the soundtrack is very cool in it as well. It's pretty interesting actually as it goes. It reminds me a little bit of some kind of classic Genesis Mega Drive games in some respects, but also it has a curious mechanic where your weapons auto lock on, which is kind of unusual because usually you're kind of having to aim yourself with these kind of things. But Seraph is more about timing and the movement of your character, and yes, your weapons are auto-locking, but kind of as you go along, you'll see you get kind of different abilities, and yeah, it's quite a cool, interesting game. It's very cheap, so I'd recommend having a little look. Stardew Valley, well-known game, only 25%, but £8.24, $10, really cheap. Stardew Valley, a fantastic, beautiful, peaceful RPG, really great. Farming, it's got a little bit of a Harvest Moon vibe going, if you know that game. Again, really peaceful. You will burn hours and hours and hours and hours if you're in for kind of like peaceful RPG games, but I would check that out if you've never done before. Take a gamble, you might enjoy. Okay, the classic Spin Tires Mud Runner, 50% off, about 10 quid, $13. Now, Spin Tires, of course, had loads of issues in the past, but they've tried to kind of take it forward and move past that. And Mud Runner is actually a really good, enjoyable game. It's got all the kind of classic stuff going on with Spin Tires. Spin Tires is another one of those games where you can kind of just burn hours. You can kind of just sit there, have a nice afternoon, make a cup of tea, have a beer, whatever you want, and just, drive some trucks around in the mud. You can't really go wrong. Okay, then to finish off here, Planet Coaster. Planet Coaster, a game which I have played a lot in 2018, and I love it. It's just fantastic to kick back with and burn some time. It's a very relaxing game. 76% off, only £7.19, about $9. Really, really good. I highly recommend that you check this game out, guys. And if you want to get the deluxe bundle, which has all of the DLC to this point in, which gives you a ton of extra rides, apparently weirdly 59% off, £28.47, about $36. Anyway, Planet Coaster, check it out. You get to build a theme park in the kind of classic sort of roller coaster tycoon styling, except that Planet Coaster takes it really to the next level, both in the visuals and the mechanics and just the whole deal, like in terms of your customization. I always wish that this had a bit more management options in there, but it basically is the definitive theme park building game at this point in time, and if you have never looked at it, I highly recommend it. It is an extremely good game. Okay, lastly, as I always do, a couple of games which are essentials for me. You should just run through them. Beautiful platformer game, Ori and the Blind Forest, 50% off, £7.49, about $9. A classic puzzle-solving mystery game, Broken Sword 2, Smoking Mirror, 80% off. That's about £1 or $1.30. You need to have that game. It's just a fantastic story. FTL, 75% off, £1.74, about $2. FTL, again, I mention it every single time because it is such a fun game. Strategy game in space. You need to get this game. Prison Architect, build a prison, 75% off, £5.94, about $8. This game is still being updated. I can't believe it. They recently added that you can now do multiplayer in this game, so you can build a prison together simultaneously with a friend. I can't believe that the devs, it's an indie dev team as well, and they keep updating this game. It's mental. This War of Mine, 70% off, £4.49, $6. A beautiful, very poignant look at the other side of war. This basically looks at the civilian consequences of war, and you're basically having to survive in a destroyed urban landscape. Very moving game, very deep, immersive game, and one to check out if you haven't. Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, new and tasty, £3.75, only $5. You need to check this out as well. I've said about this before, it's a beautiful classic game, very, very interesting, amazing, unique world, very challenging platform game, but one that you should have a look at. And then lastly, to finish things off, Final Fantasy VII, 40%, about $5.99, about $8. You know, I sometimes see this game at 50%, but rarely. Final Fantasy VII is, in my opinion, definitive Final Fantasy game. Yeah, the graphics are very dated at this point in time, but the narrative is extremely strong. And if you've never played this game, you need to check it out, and you need to sort of throw yourself right into it, because it is an absolute classic, and it is, in my opinion, definitive Final Fantasy game. Alright guys, as per usual, I would say thank you very much indeed for watching. This has been my thoughts about the winter Steam sale of 2018. I'll have some more content and some more lore content coming up as we head towards 2019. It's been a great year, guys. I just want to thank you all so much for participating and being involved in the channel. You guys make it all worthwhile, literally. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next content for the rest of this week.